I do believe and I think that Poland is the last stronghold of Christianity and normality in Europe. Hijra is a hybrid war in Islam. It's conquering the part of the world without war, without weapon, by your presence. Through the demographics. People are afraid to openly say what they think. I think we have to protect our borders.
And today I'm interviewing a Polish member of the European Parliament, Dominik Tarczynski, who became very famous for a very simple gesture, the zero gesture.
Correct.
Dom, great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me about the zero.
Zero, this is what we need, basically. This is my motto. This is what I do believe in, and I do believe that zero migration is a solution for the crisis in the world. It's not about Europe only. Illegal migration is a serious threat to our society. It's used as a weapon in many cases. That's why in 2018, I was very clear. Zero illegal migration as a solution, not only in Poland, not only in Europe, but also in US or in any other part of the world. So we had this great guy, Giuliani, in New York. Do you remember? As a mayor? Yeah. Do you remember what he stand for? He was very clear, zero tolerance.
Yeah.
And in New York was fine. Zero illegal migration, that's the solution. And I do believe that we have to stop this madness before our civilization will be destroyed.
This zero gesture happened 6 years ago now.
2018, Katie Newman interview, right?
Yeah. And what has changed since?
Nothing. Nothing has changed. And I think it's up to us if the situation will be solved. We have to be radical. We have to say zero means zero. We cannot let leftists telling us what to do, how to behave, especially when it comes to the border. I'm very pro-shooting because they are not migrants. There are illegal migrants, very often without documents. We could see videos when they burn their passports. We do not know who they are. Polish soldier was murdered. He was murdered.
A Polish soldier died at the border.
And that is the case. That is the beginning of the new beginning, in my opinion. If you don't want to be shot, do not come to the Polish border. Do not come. But still, they are coming without documents, and they killed our soldier. It's time to shoot. I'm very open about it. I do believe that international law allows Polish border guard to shoot, to defend themselves, to defend Poland. Poland is not just a piece of land on the map. We live in here. We haven't had even one terrorist attack because our government was very, very radical and straight. No migration, no illegal migration. When they start killing Polish people, they will be killed if they will come close to the Polish land. This is what should be done. Unfortunately, our government is not so radical. They behave like cowards. That's what I believe. So the gun, it's not just a tool. It's not just a thing to keep it with you. It has to be used. So please, as a lawyer, I'm trying to say, use international law, defend our land, defend our homeland, defend yourself. That's why Second Amendment is a beautiful part of the American history and legal system.
And also we have to remember that the illegal migration at the Polish border is part of a hybrid warfare operation carried out by
Putin.
By Putin and by Lukashenko. So it's not just these illegal migrants, people from Somalia, from Afghanistan, suddenly finding themselves at the Belarusian-Polish border is a very weird thing in and of itself.
You have to see the legal difference between asylum seeker and a migrant. Asylum seeker is the person who flees to the first safe country from the country of the conflict. I didn't know that Somalia is a neighboring country in Poland. It is not.
It's
so
not.
Legally, you are a migrant. You have to apply. You have to submit your documents. You have to ask for permission to be here. What they do, they trying to cross the green border without any proof of who they are. So that is a threat, especially as you mentioned, as a threat of hybrid war, because it's about hundreds of thousands. It's not about 2 or 3 or 10 or 15 families, as they trying to say. It's about massive illegal migration throughout the years. My interview, zero, was in 2018. Nothing has changed. It's even worse. So if we are not going to stop this madness, our civilization will be changed and destroyed. What I mean is...
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Hijra is a hybrid war in Islam. It's conquering the part of the world without war, without weapon, by your presence, through the demographics. So Look who's supporting Palestine now.
Sure.
All the leftists, all the left organizations, they are with the Palestinian
Palestinian
flags.
Yeah.
It's a madness.
It's mad.
If they would go to Palestine or spend time with Hamas, they would be thrown from the roof as a gay man.
Yeah.
This is madness, and this madness has to be stopped. Obviously, all the leftists, all the left organizations are used for the political purposes by the left in Europe and around the world. And every single time when you see pro-Palestine's rallies, you see even the T-shirts with Lenin, Stalin, or others.
Sure.
This is madness, and I can't understand how people can see it.
What has changed in Poland in terms of migration in the last few years? I mean, I've been living in Poland for the last almost 10 years now, and there's definitely been a change. I mean, there's a visible amount of migrants. Many of them have been legal permits. Of course, there's a large number of Ukrainians, a large number of Belarusians, but we've also been seeing a huge amount of people from Central Asia. More and more Africans are here. What's changed?
During our 8 years of our government, the economy was just booming. The lowest unemployment in European Union, the highest GDP after COVID. So obviously we opened our market for foreigners, but did not open for illegal migrants. So if you want to work in Poland, if you want to respect our culture, if you want to pay taxes, come to our services, ask for the permission, ask for a visa for 6 or 10 months. It's not a problem at all. We are not North Korea. Yeah. You cannot come in or leave the country. You can, but you have to do it legally. And first of all, you have to respect our culture. You have to respect our faith. You have to respect our society. You have to respect our tax system. You have to pay taxes. You have to be here legally. As I said, we haven't had even one terrorist attack. Why? Because there was no illegal migration. And we have to keep it that way. I don't care if they call us racist. I don't care if they call us nationalists. I care about my country and about my family. This is what I said to Katy Newman. She was shocked. How can you say that? But Jean-Paul Juncker called you a racist. I don't care. He can call me a pink elephant. I care about my family, about the safety of my homeland. That is why I love Poland. We're gonna finish this interview. We're gonna go out, and you will see how beautiful and safe Warsaw is. You know that, I know that, and many of the leftists knows that Poland is different, it's safe. This is why it's worth to fight for Poland. And I must say, I do believe and I think that Poland is last stronghold of Christianity and normality in Europe.
You saw mass migration firsthand. You went to Lampedusa, which is one of the hotspots of illegal migration into Europe. Tell me about your trip there and what happened and what you saw.
I was shocked by the numbers, by the conditions, by the attitude of migrants. We spent the whole night interviewing, in a way, migrants, and they were laughing.
About what?
They were laughing about our way of dealing with them, with the whole process. There was a couple of, I don't know, young lads in their 20s, I would say. We asked them, where are you going? What is your goal? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to stay? And they said, we are going to Paris for VIP party, and start laughing. They are laughing at us. For them, it's just fun. Yeah. Most of the videos, most of the footages you see in media is a very sad face of this young lady or older man, or very sad, poor migrants. I saw the different face of migration. They were laughing at us. They are very, very honest about the reason they're coming here. They're coming here for money. Lampedusa is one of the places where you can see that scale is about hundreds of thousands. It's not about hundreds of tens. It's about hundreds of thousands. One night, we had 7,000 people. One night, 7,000 people.
On a tiny island.
On a tiny island,
tiny.
Where 12,000 people.
Yeah.
So it is a huge risk, not mentioning the fact that, again, we do not know who they are.
Sure.
There is no documentation. We do not know if they're Al-Qaeda, if they are maybe from Hamas. We do not know who they are. And then from hundreds of thousands, only one is enough to blow up a big part of the city. What would have happened if you would try to cross the border in Great Britain in Heathrow or any other place, or JFK, without the document,
I'd be stopped.
you would be killed.
Yeah.
If you would forcefully try to cross the border at the airport,
Yeah.
attacking Coast Guard or any other services, you would be shot. You would be killed.
That's a good point, actually.
So what is
That
the
is a good
difference?
point.
What
If
is
you-
the
if you,
difference? What is the difference between an airport and
And the physical land border.
physical green border when they killed Polish soldier? They murdered him. So I can't see the difference. You would be shot dead if that would be airport. What is the difference? So everyone is shocked when they hear shoot them. Why are you shocked? Legally, morally, we do have a right to protect ourselves.
And also vice versa, if a European tried to force the border of, say, Somalia.
Well, it's completely the same
It's
thing.
the same thing.
No one would,
Yeah.
they would shoot first and they ask who you are.
They would.
So that's obvious, and they do. Everyone, every country, every sovereign country has a right to protect its border. As I said, the guns, the machine guns, are not toys. They need to be used.
What is Europe to you? What is Western civilization? You talk a lot about preserving the West. What does the West mean to you? What are you defending?
I'm trying to defend, first of all, my homeland and legacy of those who fought for our freedom. My personal experience from my own family is my grandfather, who fought against communists after 1945. He was in the underground army, fighting against them for many years, and communists tried to eliminate him until 1969. So for him, war never ended in 1945. So he is an example why do we fight and what Poland is. But then when you look throughout the generations in the past, when you see Sobieski, when you see Chopin, when you see Skłodowska-Curie, when you see John Paul II, when you see all these great Poles who fought against communism, when you look at Europe and when you look at different part of the world and our civilization, we must say that we are completely different than Arabs, for example. And this is not Islamophobia. They're trying to put the Islamophobia stick on me, and they're trying every single day, they're trying to tell me that I'm Islamophobe. I'm not Islamophobe. I'm trying to point the differences between us. And because of these differences, we have terrorist attacks by the Arabs, by the Islamists in Europe. Have you ever heard about Europeans, Polish, who blew himself up in any Arabic state? Have you ever heard about it?
No, but I will give you the counter-argument.
Mm-hmm.
The Arab counter-argument would definitely be the European history.
Right,
That would be their natural counterpoint.
right.
And there would be a counterpoint, which I don't think the colonial argument is a strong one because Arabs themselves built a massive colonial empire. However, they will probably point out that there has been a degree of exploitation by major European and Western and American
Right.
companies and conglomerates, and that I do think is actually a fair argument that there has been. You see it in many places in the Middle East and in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
The large role played by American and European multinationals.
So name one colony owned by Poland.
No, there's been.
We
there's
haven't-
no,
we haven't
But
had any
we're
colony.
talking
That's
correct,
number
Dom,
one. That's
but
the
we're
one-
talking about the West.
Okay,
But
and then-
in terms of Poland, I agree with you. There isn't a history of.
Never.
a history. Of
That's number
colonialism.
one. Number two, do you remember what happened when European forces left African countries?
Sure, I'm half South African. I know the history of colonialism very well.
So you know exactly that there are, bright and dark sides of the colonialism, and this is not the reason to kill innocent people.
No, correct. I agree with you.
Many Poles lost their lives in terrorist attacks in Europe. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with the faith. All of it is because of the hatred. And this hatred never ended. Throughout the years, what about Islamists attacking Europe when Sobieski had to defend it?
Sure.
Is this because of the colonialism?
Sure, no. I mean, this was
before
literally Ottoman expansionism.
So they were always trying to use force.
Sure.
This is what they do now. It's different shape and different form, but the goal is still the same. And we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect Western European civilization. Look at the Paris now. What is happening in this beautiful, romantic Paris? I don't want to use dirty names on those who are in charge of Paris, but I visited Paris recently.
Sure.
It's a shithole. I'm sorry to say that.
It's an open air museum.
Yes.
It's an
you're
open
cut
air.
it off.
It's an open air museum. I'd say
it stinks. It's
it does.
dirty.
No, I've been to
It's
Paris
dangerous.
recently. Sure.
I love the people, but the place turned into the garbage.
Sure.
And I don't want to see Poland, Warsaw, Krakow, other beautiful city turned into the garbage because of the leftism, because of this sick ideology of diversity. Diversity is not a virtue for me.
No.
Not at all.
No, and it's not a strength. There's a leftist mantra telling us that diversity is strength.
That's right.
No one can explain, except for food, no one can explain where the strength lies. They repeat diversity is strength, but they never ever tell you how it makes you strong.
That's why my message would be, let them call you fascists, nationalists, racists. Let them call you whatever they want. Protect your family, protect your country, protect your culture, protect your world. People are afraid to openly say what they think. I think we have to protect our borders. We should use our guns, and if someone is trying to break the law on our land, should be shot and killed. That's it. Everyone knows that this is illegal.
I think one interesting counterpoint, or one interesting example for the West, is the United Arab Emirates,
Right.
Which is an interesting place because it's a place that
different,
is,
yeah.
it's about 90% of the population are expats or migrants, depending on how you want to call them.
Right.
And yet they have managed to maintain complete and utter order. But one of the interesting things that the Emiratis have done...
I tell you why.
What is it? Tell me, Dom. How did they do it?
There is no illegal migration.
Correct. There's no illegal migration.
Ask yourself,
but
why Egypt did not allow people from Gaza to cross the border?
Oh, it's because of the links with the Muslim Brotherhood.
Simple as that.
They are afraid. They're very afraid of a resurgence of the Muslim Brotherhood.
I was asking this question many times. Why Arab countries are not so open for this global crisis with the migration? Why Muslims, mainly Muslims, Arabs, are not migrating to the Muslims and Arab countries? Because they are not allowed.
Yeah.
That is the difference between Europe and Arabic countries. I did ask, where's Qatar? Where's Egypt and others? They never helped. The same thing with Mecca. 4 million air-conditioned tents
available, ready to go, and empty the whole year except for the Hajj.
So the answer is very simple. They are smart. They know that it is a threat, and they protect their own society, and you can't blame them. And but Qatar is it's a piece of land which they know exactly how to do businesses in their own interest. They are. From my European experience as an MEP, what I've seen in the European Parliament is just a disgrace. What they did
this is
to
what
our-
I was going to ask you. Is you're a member of the European Parliament. What does the member of the European Parliament do? What do you actually do in Europe, in Brussels?
Well, it's over 700 of us.
Sure.
And obviously we do have committees we working in. I'm in Foreign Affairs Committee.
Yeah.
Well, basically, it's all regulations in European Union going through the European Parliament.
Sure.
So it's like a Congress in US, it's like a Polish Sejm or in other parliaments in member states. We are the representatives of all 26 countries, 27, and every country has a different number of members. It's 53 from Poland.
Sure.
Whole regulation going through the European Parliament, every single, even the most stupid ones. I must say there.
Okay, but give me an example of something interesting that you've actually worked on in Brussels, because
Well,
it can't all be silly, right?
Of course not. Of course not. We well, when you see the recent documents like unity of the charges, Like the whole European Union is going to use the same charger
USB-C.
for your iPhone,
Yeah.
for your phone in general, right?
Yeah.
So that's number one. But
isn't that actually useful?
well, it is. But I don't think European Parliament should work on it. But obviously, the main subject is very left-wing kind of way of thinking, because migration is a big part of the work, of the regulations, LGBT, human rights, as they call it, abortion.
Sure.
So it's a leftist agenda, and mainly most of the debates are based on this subject. So to me, 720 people working on the charger for like 18 months.
Yeah.
It's a bit too long and too expensive. So.
Okay, what's the silliest piece of regulation you've ever worked on in the EU?
Banana is another fruit. It's a vegetable. Because they were trying to put the taxes down, someone had to make money on it. So they started to discuss if banana is a vegetable or
You were part
fruit.
of these discussions?
Yes.
You serious?
I'm serious. And then on the other side, we had a discussion on Sharia law.
Okay.
If that should be applicable in some part of Europe. Can you believe that?
Tell me more about this discussion. Tell me more about the discussion.
It started in the Council of Europe. There was discussion on Sharia law as a solution for some part of societies, if it should be implemented or not. And my question is, why do we even discuss this kind of thing?
Yeah, that's
no one in Sharia law states discussing European laws, Roman law, or Greek philosophy.
Sure.
But no, we are very open. We need diversity. So let's talk if the Sharia should not be implemented in some part of the cities or some part of the countries or in some part of Europe. So it's dangerous. We can laugh about it. We can joke about it, but it's serious. It is really serious, and it's good that we have representatives from conservative part of the society who are open, who are radical, as they call us. I don't care if they call me radical. I see myself as a logical. Main thing is to protect your family and protect your country.
There was a famous corruption case where the deputy
Qatar,
leader
yeah.
of Eva Kaili, the socialist MEP from Greece.
Right.
Tell me about that story. You made a few videos on TikTok that did good numbers about that situation. Tell me more about this corruption case.
Well, it's called Qatargate.
Yeah.
When you hashtag Qatargate, you'll see a lot of things about this scandal. It's the biggest corruption scandal in the history of European Parliament. Over 70 years of European Parliament, never happened. I mean, the scale of the corruption, the influence from Qatar buying MEPs, enormous. The amount of cash found in the suitcases.
How much was it?
A couple million.
Sure.
That was only one case because there was like four or six people very much involved in this in the corruption scandal. So basically, Qatar was preparing for the World Cup.
Yeah.
As we know, they had many people working on the stadiums and from very poor countries. Many of them died, and the PR for Qatar was not very good. So they decided that they're gonna buy some of the MEPs to work on their PR, and it started with the World Cup and the PR, but then went very deep into the legislation going through the European Parliament.
What were the actual
visas, basically visas and other parts, very important, very sensitive part of the legislation. So we know that Kaili was taking a part and voting in a committee where she was not a member.
What?
To help Qatar, yes. And then she didn't know that she was already under the investigation, and the agents were there watching her voting, taking a vote where she was not even a member of the committee. Obviously, she was visiting Qatar very often, taking pictures and legitimized their action. I mean, Qatar's action. Not only Qatar, but also special services from Morocco were involved. The ambassador of Morocco in Warsaw was involved. Money was going through in cash, going through Abdun, his name is, ambassador in Warsaw, not anymore. When we found out, he left. And we know that there are very strong links to Russian oligarch, and he was very close friend to Kaili.
Which
His name is
oligarch?
Ivan Savidis, very
Okay.
close friend to the Putin. Savidis was even he did get a letter after Putin attacked Ukraine in 2014. Putin thanked him for his support in his actions, and Savidis was seen with Kaili very often. So when someone is asking me about Qatargate, I see this as a Russian gate, and I see this as a threat to our election process, not only in European Union, because we know that Russia spent $250 million on influences. It's called for the lobbyists. That was the money for the bribes. We know about 50 million euros in Qatargate at the moment.
Sure.
It's much more. I know that it's much more.
So tell me. So there's famously members of the European Parliament are known to be well paid.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
It's
Yes, we are
a
well paid.
comfortable
Very,
job.
Very well paid.
It's something that many politicians want. It's something.
Yeah.
It's a goal for a lot of people to go to Brussels to pick up those paychecks. How easy is it, even though they're well paid? How easy do you think it is to buy? I mean, if the Qataris were able to do it, how many other players around the world do you think are able to purchase influence in the European Union? Obviously, you mentioned Russia.
So just to give you an example, 12 official lobbyists on one German MEP.
Explain
Okay.
that in lay language.
In European Parliament, lobbyists, registered lobbyists, can obviously operate as they want.
Sure.
From information when this scandal just exploded, we found out that 12 Russian lobbyists worked with one MEP, German
On
MEP.
average, so every single member of
Yes.
every single German member
Not
of the
only
European
that.
Parliament had 12 lobbyists
That's
working
correct.
around
And
them.
not only that, the daughter of Peskov was hired in European Parliament.
Was she?
Yes, she was.
Who hired her?
As an assistant.
Who hired her?
We don't know. We know that
That's
she was
incredible.
hired.
Wow.
So when you're asking me about the access, it's easy. It's very easy because of the system in European Parliament. It's a joke. It is a joke. The joke is that just to describe you how this institution works, during COVID, we had this promo films when Ursula von der Leyen was washing her hands and giving us instructions how to do it right, this and that.
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing was?
No.
There was no hot water in the parliament, and still no hot water because they had some problem with the pipes, and there is no hot water for the last 4 years in European Parliament.
No.
I'm serious.
There's no hot water in the European
No.
Parliament. I don't believe you. Are you serious? I'm gonna
No
have to.
one.
I'm gonna fact check
I'm
this because this is
serious.
insane.
I am serious. So
In the
all-
building of the European
there is no
Parliament in
hot
Brussels,
water.
there's no hot water.
No, for the last 4 years.
That's incredible.
And never.
That's unbelievable.
That's unbelievable. So when you
Yeah, that's
and
unbelievable.
they trying to convince us that they are ready to fight Putin.
Yeah.
When they're working on bananas as a fruit or vegetable, when they
Sure.
don't have hot water, and they're working for 18 months on very universal charger. That's the main. And they are very much focused on LGBT and abortion. They want to fight and they want to preserve civilization. It's a joke.
Tell me, there's been in the last few months, years, there's been last few months really, there's been what's being described as a sort of massive right-wing conservative resurgence. We saw the Rassemblement National in
Right.
France do incredible numbers. In Germany, we're seeing the rise, which is I find concerning, of the AfD. We're seeing all sorts of political in Spain with Vox. What are your and yet none of this is enough to shift the balance of power in the European Parliament.
Not yet, but
There's-
time will come.
the shift is like, who's running the European Parliament at the moment?
Well, mathematically, liberals, EPP, European People's Party, gain majority, mathematically. But I do believe that next election, we do have a big chance for the European Commission, for the President of the European Commission. We do have a chance to take over. We do have a chance to go back to normality. We do have a chance to fight for Europe. I'm ready for it. Let's wait step by step, when people will see the bottom of this madness with migration, well, they will see more corruption from Qatar and other states. They just bought us. I don't want to use very rough words, but we are not prostitutes. And they treat us like prostitutes. Some of us sell themselves. And Qatar is a great example how they treat European lawmakers. So what we have to do, we have to fight for normality, we have to fight with the corruption, we have to fight for our civilization, we have to fight for our dignity. And this is what I'm ready for future years.
You talk about this rise of the right.
Right.
You sound optimistic. One of the interesting things that we've seen in the British election has been the rise of independent candidates or the Green Party candidates, where the Green Party has been taken over by essentially by Islamists.
Right.
I mean, we've seen these independent candidates for Gaza on the ballot in the UK. I mean, it's literally putting the slogan of some of them was really, I think Jeremy Corbyn's slogan was putting Palestine on the ballot.
It's crazy.
Ironically enough, obviously, there's no ballot in Palestine because Hamas has ruled it
Well, basically,
for the last 15 years or so.
I think these people should not be in a ballot, should be in mental hospital. I'm serious now because this is not about Palestine. This is about Great Britain.
Yeah.
What's happened to you, Empire? What has happened to you? What have you done to yourself? You cannot win any local elections in London when you don't have support from Muslim community. So I'm very sorry. Again, it's not Islamophobia. It's just a fact.
When do you think, Dom, how do you think that we will see Islamist candidates, the way we've seen them in the UK, be elected to the European Parliament?
Yes.
Do they exist? Are there any?
Of course they do. Of course they do. Mostly you can see communists with the T-shirts. Communists, they are very open. They do not hide it. We do have a group of 4 or 6 openly communists. They are very pro-Putin and they are very pro-communism in general. Obviously, when we voted on one of the legislation paper on Islamophobia, they did not agree to include Christianophobia. They voted against it. So we could have a bill, we could have a document condemning Islamophobia, but they rejected, in a voting, in a majority, Christianophobia after the attacks on Christians in Nigeria. So so the answer is, when you're asking, are they there? Yes, they are. They are present. And when you see resolutions on Islamophobia and Christianophobia, the answer is very clear. We are in a majority, and what we have to do, we have to fight. We have to fight. We have to preserve our ideas, and we have to preserve what we believe in. I do believe that most of the people who will watch us will understand and agree that we do have a right to live as we want to. Many of you who will watch it are scared to stand up and say out loud what you think. What we need is some kind of bravery in 2024. You have to be brave to say it as it is.
Sure.
And this is what we need. I do believe that my party and my political path will lead me to the success, and we're going to save Poland and save Europe.
Dominik Tarczynski, thank you very much, Dom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.